Good afternoon. Good evening, everybody, rather. Sorry, good afternoon. Good evening, everybody, I should say. Welcome to It's All Black and White TV. And it's a Newcastle United and Brentford match preview. Can assure you it is very much evening here because it's very much pitch black outside. I'm joined by Rolly. How are you, Rolly?
I'm not too bad, thanks, Tony. I'm back on the laptop tonight, so hopefully there won't be any echoes like last night.
No, I can't hear myself anyway, so that's brilliant. That's what I want to hear. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. So let's get into the. Hang on, I've still got an echo somewhere, so I don't know what's happened there, Rolly. I'll just pop you on mute a moment while I do the bits and pieces, and we'll come back to you. Yeah, there's an echo somewhere again. I don't know what's going on here. But if you do like what you see, please do smash the like. It really does help the channel stay towards the top of search. It means new viewers find it easily, so do smash the like. Thank you. Also, if you're brand new at the channel, come and smash the subscribe. Come and be part of this great community we have here. And also that bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows. If you do want to become a member, it's 99p to join. Just click the join button, and we are going to do a members draw this month, hopefully. And also, if you want to make a donation, you can do that in the chat by clicking on the $sign as well. I'm going to get into some comments first, and then we'll get into the show. Ian says, evening, Tony and Rolly. Good evening to you, Ian. Hope you're well. Holly says, hi, Tony and Rolly. Good evening. Hi to you, Holly. Julie says, evening, Tony and Rolly. Good evening, Julie. Hope you're well. Evening, Tony and Uncle Rolly says, Bia Viking. Good evening, Bia.
Evening, Dave.
Julie asking Ian if she's seen him somewhere else before. Yeah, you have, Julie. And he just Tuesday night wasn't a good night for Ian, was it? Sorry, Ian. Jake says, who is that and what has he done with Rolly? Rolly's had a makeover.
Yeah. I decided to get rid of the beard.
Lee says, evening, Tony and Rolly. Everyone, get in there. Let's go win this weekend. Do you know what, Lee? Absolutely, mate. I can't agree more. Right, I'll have to just mute Rolly again in a moment. Right. So what we are seeing latest at the moment in terms of news at the moment, it's looking like Tonali could be missing Saturday. Obviously, as well as Botman. Them two look like they're not going to be in the team on Saturday. Could not even be in the team against Milan, which is going to be a shame for Tonali because he is probably very much looking forward to going back to the San Siro. But one thing we will touch on is this guy, and that's Bruno J, our number 39. We are hearing that they are very, very close to a new contract being agreed. So it's very close. It's just the final few little details to be rubber stamped, and once the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, then they'll make some sort of official announcement. So I'm hoping by the weekend we may hear more on this, that Bruno has signed a new contract, which is what everybody wants. He deserves a new contract. He's been absolutely fantastic. We got him for a bargain, and I mean a bargain of £40 million. You wouldn't get many players of his quality at that price, as we've seen in the transfer market. So, yeah, absolutely fantastic news. Once we find out that Bruno does sign this new contract extension. And hopefully it'll be a weight off his shoulders, because I don't know if that's playing heavy on his mind as well, that he wants to sign this deal, but it's got to be put right, obviously, in. Maybe that's affected his performance. We don't know. But again, we just have to wait and see. And also congratulations to Bruno, because he did put out a picture the other day that his wife's expecting another child. So, congratulations there to Bruno and his wife as well. And for Matteo to get another brother or a sister. So there we go. I don't know if anybody's seen Tyneside Life. Eddie. Now, Eddie's a nice guy. He put out a video the other day. It's actually from the first game against Costa Rica when Saudi Arabia played, and the protesters were there. and one of them's somebody called John Hurd, who's a Newcastle fan, quite a left wing as well. I mean, look, Eddie challenged him, tried to talk to him, asked him about what sports washing actually means and things like that. Didn't want to talk to Eddie, doesn't want to talk to anybody. He doesn't seem to want to answer the questions. It seems as if he's jumped on the bandwagon. But we did see on that video there was a very angry Saudi guy who said, look, you know, why is everybody pointing the finger at Saudi? What about Palestine? What about the Gaza Strip and all this sort of thing? And you know what? He's got it absolutely spot on, that guy. He is right. You know, everybody seems to pick faults at the Saudi regime and things like that, and Saudi Arabia as a country. But there are far worse countries out there. There is Qatar. We've seen it in the World Cup, what Qatar were doing in the World Cup, which was absolutely diabolical. You know, you see things going on in Israel, Palestine, the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, you know. The stuff going on all over the place. Russia in Ukraine, you know. So, you know, you can't just park the bus and say it's all Saudi Arabia when it's not. There's other countries. So, you know, and I think a bit disappointing that he didn't want to bother, you know, talk about why he was there and things like that. And, you know, I mean, it's fair enough if he doesn't. But again, you know, maybe he should come clean and just have a bit of a chat. Seems like he just wanted to skip questions. And I just question, are these actually Newcastle fans or are they just out there to protest? You know, people have got the right to protest in this country. You know, that's the great thing about our democracy. You know, we do allow the protests. You know, but, you know, if you're going to protest about something, you know, there's other things to be protesting for out there, you know. And at the end of the day, the Premier League's seen everything fit, and that's why the takeover went through. I think people should just leave it now and just let we get on with it, you know, instead of keep going over old ground. I mean, you know, if Man U were taken over by Qatar, would Man U get all these problems? I'm not so sure. So, you know, it's just what I've come out to see anyway. And, you know, people may comment on this as well in the chat as we go on. We've also seen tonight that, you know, Eric Ten Hag's come out tonight and he said to Jadon Sancho, because obviously Sancho now we know is not training with Man United. No, it's not our club and we're not bothered about Man United. But obviously when a player who's had mental health struggles seems to be disposed by his manager, isn't a very good look on anybody's club. If Eddie did that one of our players, I'm sure we wouldn't be happy with Eddie Howe. Not that I'm saying Eddie Howe would do that, because we know fine well Eddie Howe wouldn't do that. He's not that type of guy. But what's happening with Jadon Sancho, it's a shame, you know, and I hope he can get himself sorted out and get back. But why should he have to go and apologise about what Ten Hag said when Ten Hag's made him out to be a scapegoat? I think that's going to rumble on, and I wouldn't blame Jadon Sancho if he doesn't apologise, because why should he? You know, I think he has been made a scapegoat as well. So, yeah, there we go. Right. Let's just go into some comments. I'm going to ask as well. Right. Julie says, Bruno, yeah, absolutely. Godfather says, evening, Tony Young Rowley, Ian BR in chat. Yeah, he does look younger without that beard now, doesn't he? It's took a few years off him. Bruno, for years to come, says Lee. Yeah, hopefully, mate, hopefully. John Herders and Mackham says, beer. Rumours that Herders and Mackham. I've heard that as well, yeah. Pardon the pun, saying heard. China is the worst country by far. People disappear, and that's not just in the smog. Do you know what? You're not far wrong. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This, you know, and if you look at Saudi Arabia, they're doing a lot. They're doing a lot of things, which is absolutely great for that country. And you know, a lot of you have probably seen Roy Caviani, the King of Qatar. You know, he's been on Toon Review. He comes on here sometimes. I'm going to have to get Roy back on, actually, and we'll probably have a chat with Roy about that. But, you know, the last time I spoke backstage with Roy when he was on my show, on my channel, I mean, look, you know, he even said, you go through Saudi Arabia and the women are just driving all over in the cars. You know, it's just like, It's not what people are making it out to be, and that is the problem. There's too many people just making it out to be worse than what it actually is. Holly says, Jonas around Newcastle, our team will do wonders for our city. Exactly. Look what they're going to do. They want a fan zone cellar. Have the stack at Strawberry Place. Now, obviously, it's in the planning. It's in planning at the moment, but that could be up and running by, say, February, March. Absolutely fantastic. So let's wait and see. Hope the planning goes too. Lee says, heard he's more of a turd full of crap. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Rolly, these protesters that were outside St James's Park for both friendlies for Saudi Arabia. I understand some Newcastle fans, even Newcastle fans who are season ticket holders, weren't happy about having Saudi Arabia at St James's Park. I mean, look, it's bringing money into the club, and that's what we should be looking at. It's not the fact it's just bringing money into the club, but it's also trying to rebuild communities. And, we've seen what it's done. I mean, there was a young girl went there she's at Manchester University, and she travelled over to go and watch the football. There's young kids there who support, I think, Al Nassr, and he said Ronaldo, they've got him there, and it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, Rolly, what is your thoughts on these protesters? And, I'm not saying they haven't got a right to protest, because anybody's got a right to protest. But, if they can't answer questions about sports washing, then should they really be protesting if they don't know what it's all about?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because the ruler of Saudi Arabia was not a nice person in any way, shape, or means. But he has led through quite a lot of reforms from what was an ultra conservative religious state, Islamic state. Things like allowing women to drive. They are becoming more liberal, but that doesn't excuse some of the stuff that he's done, like the murder of the journalist in the Saudi embassy, Khashoggi, in Turkey. It's despicable.
Well, it's alleged. It's alleged, Roddy. We don't know. Nobody knows if that's true or not. Nobody knows.
Well, the CIA say with a high degree of certainty that it is him. They know more about this, but the thing about it is that's a geopolitical issue. It's for politicians to sort out. And if the politicians say that we can't have Saudi owners, we can't have Saudi owners, and we'll have to. But our politicians are quite happy to trade with Saudi Arabia. They're selling arms to them. They're investing in the country. So why can't they own our club?
Absolutely.
And the thing about it, I mean, you heard Yasser in the documentary when he's asked about running the club. He says, "Well, if I was going to run the club, I wouldn't have got Amanda and Mirdad and Jamie here. I'd just do it myself. But I'm not running the club. They are running the club. I'm just the chairman." And he's a government minister, which he has to be the chairman of PIF. And don't you think he's got more important things to do than than to be involved in the day-to-day running of in the scope of PIF's portfolio? It's a piddly little football club in the northeast of England. I mean, compared to the things that he's dealing with, that is how the magnitude of Newcastle United is at the moment. Obviously, they want to grow the club. They're invested in the club. But when you put it into perspective, compared to the other investments that he's dealing with, it doesn't even hit the radar most of the time. He only gets involved to approve spending, which is what he does with all the others. But he's the driving force behind PIF. So he hasn't got the time to just control and run Newcastle, because he's got so many other things that he's in charge of. The protesters, yeah, you need to know what you're talking about. If you are protesting about sports washing, you need to be able to tell us what sports washing is. Um, and really, they can do their protests out the ground. I don't have a problem with that, but it's really the wrong place to be protesting, because it's the government that they really need to be protesting against, because they're
Yeah,
the one that's set the tone. Hey, maybe that by having the association with the club and the heat that they're getting, and I think that the only reason that it's so high profile in this country about Saudi Arabia is because they bought us, and a lot of supporters of the big clubs are worried about what we're going to do. I mean, no one was really kicking up a fuss when Qatar bought PSG. I mean, they've been there for, was it, a decade or so, and
I
no
think
one's
so. Yeah,
really piped up about that. There's some rumblings about the World Cup, but it was. I think what it is, part of the problem is that Saudi Arabia, by a lot of the press, are considered the bad boys of the Middle East. Uh, when you look at what happens in Iran, um, um, what people get executed in Iran for, uh, um, and the regime they have there. Well, people don't moan about them because they're not buying football clubs, but they're still a lot worse than the Saudis. Um, and if you really want to look back, um, some of the things that have been going on in Saudi Arabia um, now, we were doing them in the Middle Ages. They just got to a
yeah,
different route. It's not like we've never done stuff like this before. Um, it is. I mean, I'm not seeing one of the interviews. This Arabian guy was asking about what British military committing war crimes in Afghanistan and Iraq. I mean, they're always. It's. I know it's a bit of whataboutism, but as I say, if you live in a glass house, you shouldn't throw stones. Our history is pitted with um, some pretty unsavory things. Like we were one of the biggest slavers in the world during the slave trade. Right, we're the first to decide not to stop it, but not after we made so much money. I mean, our banking system was set up due to the money brought in through the slave trade. We've slaughtered people in various countries in the empire, indigenous peoples. Right, it's a long time ago, but it's not like we've never done anything.
no, it's not like that was squeaky clean, Rolly. That's the thing.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I mean,
We're better. We're better now. We've
yeah,
improved, but I think people sometimes forget our history when we're pointing the finger at someone else.
yeah,
Yeah, we've got better. We've improved, but we're not perfect. Even now, we're not perfect. If you look what
no,
happened to the Windrush generation, there's people that came from the Caribbean under invitation for the government to help rebuild the country after the Second World War, getting deported and told they're not the kids who were brought here as young kids. They didn't need any documentation because they didn't need them when they came over, and then they're telling them they've got to go home. It's just and that's in the last sort of 10 years. So it's. I'm sorry, getting a bit political here, but it's everyone can point the finger at everyone. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, absolutely.
in general, we're a lot better than most countries, but we're not perfect.
Yeah, I mean, BS says that I've been to Saudi was good. He says I've been to China. Police came twice to the hotel room to check my passport and I'm through all my luggage. Yeah, there's the difference. Lee says, look, Putin's got more people knocked off for their money. I mean, look, when look, you gotta look at you just got to look at Chelsea. Abramovich, he was Putin's right hand man, looked after Putin's finances for him. And yet this guy was allowed to own a football club. Yes, granted, at the time when he took over, when he did take over, there was none of this owners and directors test at the time. So, he was able to take over. But we all know Abramovich, and, and this is the same guy that when Gus Hiddink became manager of Russia, the Russian FA said, we can't afford the wages. And that's where Abramovich turned around and said, well, don't worry about that. I'll pay his wages, It's like, how on earth is he allowed to even interfere, considering he owns a football club, but he's allowed to interfere in an FA, a Federated Football Association, to pay managers' wages? I just find the whole thing stinks. So, there is ways around it. But, like I say, we've seen it with Abramovich. I think now he's distanced himself from Putin now, but he used to be tied up with Putin. He used to be his best mate, didn't he, at one time? Wayne says, evening, Tony Rowley and all in chat. Good evening, Wayne. Hope you're well. Lee says, this is our future for us. Money in the club, updated the ground, out of ground as well, getting everything better for us. Do you know what it is? You're absolutely spot on, Lee, because the thing is, they're improving things. Look at what's happened in the ground. I mean, they've just, they've done a bit of painting, a bit of TLC in the ground. It now looks spick and span. We've got safe standing in the ground as well, parts of it. Absolutely fantastic. Look at the training ground. That's had a good lick of paint. That's had a bit of a makeover, and it looks even better than what it was. It's probably gone from a level 3 now, probably to a level, probably 2, I would say, or maybe it's even moving up to a level 1. Gone are the days of the paddling pools and the wheelie bins and things like that. That's all a thing of the past now. So, yeah, absolutely. Godfather says Saudis are moving in the right direction. Some countries here in Europe are going the other direction. Look closer to home. We have done far worse. You're absolutely right. Exactly what Rowley said. Holly says, at the end of the day, our owners are going to respect and work with the history of our club and city and regenerating fantastic future for our club. Absolutely, Holly. And that's exactly what Man City did. Their owners came in. Bearing in mind, remember, we could have been owned by Sheikh Mansour, but, our former owner, didn't play ball with the price, and that was the problem. But yeah, I mean, look what Man City owners have done. They've regenerated not just the ground, obviously they got the ground given to them from the Commonwealth Games, but not only that, around East Manchester, they've regenerated the area, got jobs and things like that. So yeah, it's all good for the city, and that's what we'll have in Newcastle eventually. And the thing is, the Saudi Arabians will bring in revenue from abroad, because Saudi businessmen will come over and they'll want to invest, and they'll probably say, oh, well, invest in Newcastle, I'm not saying invest in Newcastle United, but invest in the city of Newcastle. We've got the big business park at Newcastle. There may be buildings and they might say, oh yeah, we'll bring our business and have an office here based in Newcastle. So, it's all good at the end of the day. So we'll see what happens anyway. Ian says there's no country that is perfect. They all have bad eggs. Absolutely, Ian. No country is perfect, mate. Absolutely. If it was perfect, it would be a sad world, mate. Andrew says, all right, lads. Soz in the pub, but tuned in today, all right. Yeah, absolutely fine, Andrew, and hope you're having a nice drink there, mate. Rashi 10 says, big up to you, Rashi. What's going on at your club, mate? I mean, look, we were just chatting about Jadon Sancho and this Ten Hag row, and Ten Hag's made him out to be a scapegoat with these mental health issues. I mean, do you see Ten Hag's to blame on this, or is it Sancho? I mean, what's your thought, being a Man U fan? I mean, we're the outside looking in, but obviously, you might know a bit more, and you might say, well, actually, it's not Ten Hag. It's all down to, it's all down to Sancho. But let us know. Saka, anyhow, he's not good enough to coach big games. Well, anyhow's going nowhere, and that's a thing. And we've had a tough start. Yes, we have. But we've got 3 games now. and we should be looking at 9 points. BS says, I heard in Scotland they deep fry Mars bars. That's got to be human rights violation. There's a lot of places do fried Mars bars. I've never had one, to be honest with you. I just don't see I just don't see how they could be nice to be either. Rashi says Sancho's the problem. He's our top earner. Yeah, he's had mental health issues, hasn't he, as well? Totally agree. BS says Ian. Right, so Saturday we welcome. So we're going to get into the preview now. So Saturday we have got Brentford coming. It's a tea time kickoff at 5:30. It was brought forward from the Sunday because obviously we play in AC Milan on the Tuesday. So, to have a 4:30 game and to get to the San Siro and everything, it's not giving you enough time. So at least I was glad it was pulled back and brought over to the Saturday instead. Common sense prevailed. Look, it's going to be a tough game. Brentford are not a bad side. They're not mugs. They're 8th in the table at the moment as well. So, where did Brentford finish last year? 8th place. Where are they now? 8th place. So, they're no mugs. And Thomas Frank is a very, very good manager. I really do rate that guy. And I think, there's going to be a time when he is going to move on from Brentford and go to a bigger club and, really go on to bigger things. But, Brentford play some good football. Yes, they haven't got Ivan Toney, but they're showing they don't need Ivan Toney because they've got Mbeumo and they've got Wissa as well. Two good strikers who are deadly in front of goal. So you've got to be on your, you've got to be on your mettle with them too. But yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be a tough game regardless. I mean, Rashi saying he'd take Gordon over Sancho. Wow. Well, Gordon's not for sale. Godfather says, how does that work? Surely the chocolate would melt. Well, that's what I would think. It would melt, wouldn't it? But I really don't know. I don't know the ins and outs. But I mean, science would tell you that, fat that's probably the 130 degrees is going to, as soon as you put the chocolate in there and batter, it's going to melt the chocolate. It's going to go all over the place and caramel and everything. But apparently it doesn't. I don't know how they do it. They must have some sort of secret, but I don't know what it is. If anybody's been on here and fried Mars bars, please let us know what the secret is. How do they not melt? So if you are a fish shop owner and you do these battered Mars bars, then please tell us in the chat how you get how it doesn't melt, because we would love to know. I've been told they're really tasty, but I just don't. It doesn't appeal to me. The manager gave Sancho 3 months out of football last season. Says Rashi. He says Brentford not easy. No, they're not an easy team. Absolutely. So, Ian says you'd think that'd go further. 3-1 win for us, says Lee. Sefton says, evening all, I've just got back from York with Mrs. Sefton. 3-0 bounce back ability. How are the lads? Oh, I love York, Sefton. Did you have a great time? What did you get up to? Did you go to the Minster and did you do the chocolate tour, Sefton? Because that's brilliant, that chocolate tour. I did that. That was absolutely fantastic. 1-1 says Jake. Right. In fact, we're going to hear it now from somebody who's going to tell us about fried Mars bars. Obviously, he's a secret defied Mars bar lover, and he's obviously had a few in the past. So Rolly's going to explain it to us. So we would love to hear it, Rolly. So come on, let us know, please.
Well, I'll say, just like you, my background is in the food industry, and I've got a degree in food science, which is why I know. Basically, it's the batter is the secret, because the heat of the fat when it's frying will be absorbed by the batter before it gets to the chocolate, and then it's a bit like when you're having oven gloves on. When you take something out of the oven, you don't burn your hands because you've got the oven gloves on, and the batter acts like that around it. As long as I don't fry it for too long, the batter won't. Let's say the chocolate won't melt.
There we go. So, see, bit of knowledge from Rolly there. Jake says, don't cook it too long, just a minute or two. And Julie says, York's lovely, especially in the summer days. Julie, absolutely. I was in York back in, when was it now? June it was, yeah. So I just happened to be there when it was Pride weekend, and it was absolutely ram-packed on a Saturday. But yeah, it was a great day, a great time in York. I had overnight, I was there. But yeah, York's a lovely place. Did you go on the train, Sefton, or did you drive? But yeah, I mean, Rowley, Brentford are not going to be an easy team on Saturday, are they? I mean, look, they're eighth place at the moment in the Premier League. They just missed out on the European place last season. You know, they're proving they don't need Ivan Toney up front for them because they've got Wissa and they've got Mbeumo, who are deadly in front of goal as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously at the community stadium, they gave us a real trouble. Obviously, when they came up to St James's Park, we did a number on them in the end, but we were lucky not to go behind in that game with that offside against Tony in the first half. Yeah, it's good to be at home, and it's good not playing one of the top teams in the country, but we've only dropped down a little bit by playing Brentford. It's going to be a tough game. We need to be at it, but we know we're capable of pulling out a result, and a big result. No one was expecting us to put 5 past Villa.
Mm-hmm.
We've got it in us. It's just that I mean, Liverpool, we gave it away. There's no other way of describing it. We were never out of the game against Man City.
Yeah.
Brighton was the worrying one. And as I said last night, if we'd had 3 points from 3 draws this season, no one would have been complaining because of the teams that we've been playing. Because I think part of the problem is because we beat Villa so well, the fact that we locked the next 3 is sort of like a landing back on earth. I mean, I saw some idiot was doing a video about should we sack Eddie now on YouTube. I watched about the first sort of 30, 40 seconds, thought this is a waste of time. And saying, like, have you looked at the teams that we played? Have you looked at the results we had against these teams last season and these specific fixtures? Home to Villa, well, we won that handily. Away at City, we lost that one. Home to Liverpool, we lost that one. The only difference was we lost to Brighton this time, which we didn't last time. And though we, if the ref hadn't blown his whistle early, we might have nicked that 1-0. It wouldn't have been out of place if Brighton had beaten us 3-0 like they did this time, because we cleared the ball off the line at least twice. And we're never very good at the Amex anyway. So when you look at the strength of schedule that we've had so far, 3 points isn't a bad haul. Obviously, we'd like more points. But when you look at the 3 teams, we could have quite easily come out of those games with no points.
You talk about that guy who, I mean, I haven't seen the video personally, but you talk about that guy. You talk about that guy saying about Eddie Howe. I also like to say I want to commend Simon Jordan as well. I mean, you know, look, not only is he being brave that he's back now because he's fighting against cancer as well, but the guy is furious about the thought of even some Newcastle fans wanting Eddie Howe out. He's like, he says it can't happen. He says it won't happen. So, you know, Simon Jordan's all for Eddie Howe staying as well.
He talks a lot of shit, but sometimes he does come up with some good points. When he's wrong, he's quite happy to wear it as well. So you've got to put your hat off to him for that. Yeah, I mean, it's 4 games against 4 of the top clubs in the division. And just because you don't win them all, you want the manager sacked because you lost a few.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. It's stupid.
It is.
Probably not.
Holly says, Thomas Frank is no mug and will come to fight for a result, but I think our lads will be sore for this game to bounce back from the disappointment 3-1 to our lads. Do you know what it is? I mean, look, Holly, you're absolutely spot on. Yeah, Thomas Frank is no mug. He is a good manager.
I
But
think there's another thing.
I,
I
I
was just
think
going to
the
say,
lads will be up for it. Yeah.
I think the other thing you've got to remember is that our guys are going to be playing for places in the Champions League game on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has a bad game, especially when you look at some of the depth we've now got. They might not play at the San Siro on Tuesday. Do you think of much more of an incentive other than like you want the 3 points anyway, but you also get to play at the San Siro, which is what they've been playing the game. I mean, it's like our group in the Champions League. I'm loving it because you qualify for the Champions League to get games like this.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, to play, if you wanted to play PSV, AC Milan, and Dortmund in the Champions League, you might get one or two of them in the group. To play all three, you'd have to get out the group stages.
Yeah.
We get to play more in the group stages, and I mean, I can't think of a better way to announce your return to the Champions League. And they won't be looking forward to playing us either. I think it's a pick 'em in that group.
Yeah. Ian saying, can you phone them pilots, Tony, and tell them to keep the noise down, lol? Do you know what it is, Ian? I tell you what, mate, honestly, it's just, at the minute, they're just doing exercise and they're doing some night flying, and I'll tell you what it is, it's an absolute, it's awful because when you're watching TV, well, you may as well not be watching it because you can't hear a bloody thing, and these jets are taking off, and then they're coming in low as if they're going to land, and then, then they'll take off again, you'll hear the sonic boom, and it's actually, to be honest with you, it's actually quite quiet tonight for a change because they have been flying around quite a bit. Although before I came on air tonight, they were flying around, and I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting before I come on tonight. If they start flying about, but luckily enough, it hasn't been too bad. So thankfully, maybe they've seen that I'm online and they're probably thinking, oh, we better not disturb me. He's in the middle of a show. So, but I doubt the US Air Force are thinking that at all. So yeah, but yeah, that's why I did put myself on mute because I thought, oh God, they're going to start, aren't they? By God, they're loud when they start up. And to be fair, my cat just sits there and he just watches them, sits on the doorstep, and there's another one going over. Doesn't even bother the cat, to be fair. He loves it. Andrew says, those pilots ready to defend us, brother. Absolutely. Jack says, evening, Tony and Rolly. Good evening, Jack. I don't think so, mate. No, not at all. Ian says, yes, I know Andrew always wanted to join the Air Force when I was younger. Sefton says, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and chat. Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Sefton. I mean, look, I could have joined the army when I was 18. I could have been in the first Iraq War, in fact. Because I did quite well. When I'd done my test, I did stay. I wanted to be working in the tanks, so I wanted to be tank crewman and then eventually tank driving. I got to the big interview and passed the big interview. And when it came to it, and then they were going to station me at Sutton Coalfield, and I just turned around and I said, you know what, I've changed my mind, I'm pulling out now, I'm not doing it. So before I even signed any paperwork, and I just said, look, I'm pulling out, and I just pulled out the army. I didn't bother going ahead with it, and probably should have in a way, but in some ways I think luckily I didn't go in there because I could, like I say, I could have been in that first Iraq War. Predator says, Harry, Tony and Rolly, hope you're both doing okay, lads. Yeah, absolutely fine, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Hope you're well as well, Predator. And keep battling, mate. Keep battling. We need an experienced foreign manager. I don't think so. I mean, look, Eddie's got enough credit in the bank, and I'm sure Eddie will turn it around. He's done it before and he'll do it again. Jack says this GCSE is drowning the hell out of me. I mean, yeah, I mean, are you having any problems with this rack business, Jack? I mean, look, it's just all of a sudden it's just come to a head. Now there's even railway stations being shut because of rack. It's like it's just unbelievable where it's all coming from now. Mary says, Ian and Tony and Ronnie, hope you're both well. Yeah, absolutely fine, Mary. Hope you're well too as well. BS, I think we'll see Tonali for 60 minutes on Saturday. That'll be interesting. Should be targeting foreign players. Got too many British players who aren't good enough. Again, Lance, the problem is FFP were way behind these clubs. But, you know, do you know what it is? I would say if there was no FFP, then yes, we may well have it. We may well have gone out and spent fortunes on players, you know. But because of FFP, just can't do it at the moment. But again, once we start generating that money and the FFP bar starts raising higher, then, you know, things will start looking up. Champions League will do well for us. If we can get out that group and go on a little run, that would be absolutely fantastic as well. So, you know, it's all boding quite well. Following the Russian plane. Evening, Mary. Right. Where was I up to? There we are. Wash hands, wash hands, wash hands. Yeah, absolutely. Sefton says Miggy's goal v Brentford would be like a rocket. You know what? That would be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it? To see a Miggy special, wouldn't it? Yeah, absolutely. That's where I was born, Tony. Decent place, to be fair. Or Sutton Coldfield. Yeah. Yeah, I've never ever been there, to be fair, Foxy. I know it's near Birmingham, isn't it? So,
I just wanted to comment on Lance Storm's comment on the too many British players. It's not just FFP. We need them for the quotas for Europe, the Champions League. So, well, if there hadn't been FFP, we would have bought big, but we still need British players. We still need club trained players as well. So it's not a free for all.
Billy says Tories literally sending this country to rack and ruin. Do you know what, Billy? You're absolutely right, but I don't think anybody can fix it, to be fair. I mean, look, it's just absolutely bonkers at the minute, and you know, just yeah. Anyway, hi Billy, and Billy, you're in the chat. What's your thoughts on those protesters at St James's Park for the 2 Saudi Arabian games? I'd be interested to hear what Billy's thoughts are on that, because I bet Paul's had a lot to say about that. Mary says, Sefton, hope you're well. People talking to... Roberto, hi guys. Hi Roberto, hope you're well, friend. Hope you're well, my friend. We'll have to get you on again, mate. Definitely. Who's going in for the first dive and which half? Yeah. Wanted to be an astronaut, found out there wasn't any atmosphere up there. Oh, nice one, Lee. Nice one. Sutton Coldfield is very posh, Foxy, says Billy. Roberto says, busy weekend ahead. Brentford at home Saturday, then off to Milan on Sunday. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Happy travels. And do you know what it is? It's going to be fantastic, isn't it? And I just hope Tonali is fit enough to even get a start in that game. I really do. And I think he could be, you know. I mean, look, we've seen it before from Eddie Howe where he's put things out there. Oh, this player's not fit, that player's not fit. Wouldn't surprise me if you see Botman and Tonali start that game on Tuesday. It really wouldn't. And then that dream that I have, well, that vision that I had will come true. That will be 1-0 down. But Botman will score with a header from a corner and get his first goal for us. And he'll celebrate in front of those AC Milan fans. He'll do an Alexander Isak celebration with a, you know, like he did against Forest Isak. And then it'll happen in the last minute of the game. We'll get a free kick. Trippier will get told, no, I'm taking it by Tonali. And Tonali will kill on the top corner. and he'll go on a mad celebration. He'll rip his shirt off, and yeah, and we'll win it 2-1. That's the vision I've got of that game. So that would be great if that did happen. Probably won't happen like that, but that would be absolutely fantastic. But there again, there's always a fairy tale, isn't there? Yeah, wash hands. They couldn't fill a phone box, Tony, but I think they're more anti-Newcastle more than anti-Surrey. That's the thing, though, Billy. That's it. I mean, look, that John Hurd, I mean, he is an absolute tool, isn't he, that bloke? I mean, look, just couldn't even answer questions for Eddie from Tyneside Life. It's just, Jason from Keeping It Tuned. Hi, people. Hi, Jason. Hope you're well, mate, and great to see your channels on you up, mate. Thanks, Roberto. Lance says, all my comments are realistic. Pope should be dropped. We've wasted 120 million on children when we should be saying the league players could have got Rafael Guerrero, Marcus Thuram for free. It's fair enough. People are entitled to their opinions. Roberto says, I wouldn't mind if Tonali took a back seat on Tuesday and let Bruno and Longstaff get back to where they was last season for one game. Yeah, do you know what, Roberto? That's not a bad shout. Do you know, I did say after the Brighton game that when you look at that midfield, it doesn't look right to me. It didn't look right at all. I mean, yes, we know Joe Linton wasn't fit. And to me, it needed Longstaff in there against Brighton. Yeah. So that one, I think we'll definitely see Longstaff on Saturday, that's for sure. And, hopefully we'll see things get put right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that the midfield didn't look right, but it's only their fourth game. Maybe it takes a bit of time to figure out how to play each other, right? They've had pre-season, but that's not the same as the rough and tumble the actual season. We'll get it right.
Yeah, we will. Hi, Tony Rolliano says, Coffee. Good evening, Coffee. Coffee says, you're looking so cool today, Rolly. He's had a shave. He's been for an operation and they took his beard off.
And it wasn't a lobotomy.
Ian says we need to upgrade the academy. We do, absolutely.
And we're doing it.
Lee says when the skips were around the ground, should throw Hurd in them. It takes time to bed in. Eddie took his time with Bruno. Yeah, absolutely. Roberto, you're absolutely spot on, mate. Good place growing up. Haven't been back for close to a decade. Prentice, I don't know what else to say, Lance. Not Steve Bruce in disguise. Gotta admit, I do kind of agree with Lance as I've dropped a Pope for Saturday after his mistakes and pretty much changed a few of them. I mean, look. I mean, the thing is, yeah, people are Nick Pope. I mean, let's look at Nick Pope. I mean, against Liverpool, I thought he looked so nervous on that field that day. When he was kicking, he didn't look right. He looked nervous coming out to get the ball. I mean, obviously from last season, that probably played a bit on his mind. But against Brighton, he just didn't seem right either. I mean, that kick out, yes, okay. Tonali could have done a little bit more. Maybe he was a bit too weak and didn't get to the ball quick enough like he should have done and blocked it. But, yeah, Nick Pope has looked a bit sketchy in a few games this season. And this is why I said after the Brighton game, this is maybe why Southgate hasn't picked him for this one. Maybe Southgate, when he was at St James's Park against Liverpool, and he saw Nick Pope that day looking nervous and probably thought, I can't pick him for my team. Which is understandable, and I totally get that. Would dropping him do anything for his confidence? I'm not so sure. Do you bring Dubravka in? Do you bring Karius in? It's one of those. But I think sometimes players get confidence by being kept faith with. And if Eddie says to Nick Pope, I know you can do better than this. I know you're better than that. So against Brentford, you're going to go out there and you're going to show me how good you really are. You're going to be the keeper that you were last season. Is his hand injury the cause of this? We don't know. There could be a number of factors. Um, but again, we'll just have to wait and see. But Nick Pope is a very, very good goalkeeper, and it might just be a little loss of form, but all of a sudden you can go into one game and it can click. I mean, you go to cricket, look at Ben Stokes. I mean, I know Stokesy well anyway, but you see what Stokesy done. He had a couple of low scores. Well, he had a low score on Sunday, and he come back yesterday with 182. So that's the thing. You can be out of form for one game, but you can come back the next game and hit the ground running and hit it with a bang. Pope could do that on Saturday. He could come into that game. Brentford could have chance after chance and nothing gets past Nick Pope and we go on and win that game. Even if we win that game 1-0, Pope's give us them 3 points. That's what I'm saying. Sport is a funny game. 1 minute you can be out of form, but in the next game you can come back with a bang. And Pope could do that on Saturday. So I wouldn't rush into dropping Pope at the moment, but all I'm saying is I think he's just been a little bit nervous for me, that's all.
Yeah, I'd agree. He did look nervous against Liverpool, but I'm hoping that Brentford don't get chance after chance. I'm hoping that Pope has nothing to do. But I think a clean sheet, I think, would help him. If we get a clean sheet, I think that'll help his confidence.
Yeah.
And when you look at the goals that we've conceded, there's nothing he could do about them. All the goals we conceded, you look at them. There's nothing he could do about any of them.
Mm-hmm.
He has looked a little low on confidence coming to claim balls and his kicking. But I wouldn't be dropping him.
No. Roberto says Gordon's been our best player so far this season. Do you know what, Roberto? I've got to agree. I mean, look, mate, he was fantastic in the Euros. He was player of the tournament, and rightly so, player of the tournament, by the way. I thought he was fantastic for England. And after I saw his interview at the end of last season, when he was on with the under-21s, and he said, look, he was honest. He said, I haven't been up to scratch at Newcastle at the moment. He says, trying to play this game that Eddie Howe plays, he says, I'm tired after like 60, 70 minutes. I'm out of breath because I've never played that way before. And he said, I want to be fitter and better. And he says, that's why I'm glad I'm going to the Euros. And he got that game time, and I think that helped him as well. But, it was a fact. He was honest about it. And you can see why he was probably out of breath, because when you're being coached by Frank Lampard, he is not a coach. He is not a great coach, and his coaching staff aren't that great either. So, no wonder he probably wasn't used to the way we play under Eddie Howe, and it's probably going to take him a while to get used to it. But now, by God, he's been a great player this season already. And if he just gets shooting boots on a little bit more often, I think he could put a few goals away this season, and and end up being a good goal scoring winger. And hopefully he forces his way into that full England side as well, because, deserves to be up there. That's for sure. But yeah, someone check if Lance is drunk. He's talking nonsense. Jason says, one thing I didn't like with Pope is when he comes out of his area to challenge the ball. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He looked a bit nervy against Liverpool, didn't he? And a little bit nervy as well against Brighton. But Eddie might have worked with him during the international break, and and probably put a few things right. I mean, we know Dubravka's not been around because he's been playing for Slovakia. So yeah, I mean, look, we'll see what happens on Saturday, but I'm sure Pope will start on Saturday. I've got no doubts about that whatsoever. I think he could be thinking about his hand. Oh, Billy played rugby. That's so cool. Yeah, hard game that. Dubravka and Karius are not in the same league as Pope, says Bia.
Yeah, I agree with him.
Yeah. Roberto says Barnes and Gordon have both scored more Premier League goals than Maxi played. Way less. Maxi was good at dribbling. but 0 end product and scored 1 in 25. Exactly, Roberto. I mean, look, the thing is, right, that, sorry, Rolling on, I've put you on mute because I'm still getting that feedback. But the thing is, Roberto, the thing with Maxi is, yes, he was a great player, like to watch, fun to watch, but there wasn't a lot of end product there. You're absolutely right on that. You know, sometimes he held on to the ball too long and then ended up losing it, and he frustrated you, and that's the thing. And that was the thing when we first signed him from Nice. Patrick Vieira did say, you're getting a player with a lot of talent, but it's his end product that's lacking. And it doesn't seem to really have improved. It should have improved. And I think Eddie Howe wanted to improve that, but I just don't think it got there. But he did well for us in what he had to do in bad circumstances. So we got to thank him for that anyway. Gordon is a pure talent, only going to get better. Just watch. Absolutely. Billy says that's the best part of his game, Jason. That's what separates him from Dubravka. Ridiculous dropping in for one bollock against Brighton. That's exactly what I'm saying, Billy. I mean, look, yes, he's looked nervy, but I think he'll have worked hard during this international break. Plus, he'll be hurt by the fact he's not in that England team and he'll want to get back in there. So, how does Pope get back in the England team? By playing well. I thought Aaron Ramsdale the other night looked very nervous for England. He didn't look comfortable with the ball at his feet. So, I thought he had an uncomfortable game. Dubravka makes mistakes too, absolutely. Pep had Man City up to Championship quality, but that didn't happen overnight. No, absolutely. Every goalkeeper makes mistakes. Yes, they do. They make howlers. I mean, we always remember that Man U keeper that they signed from under the Ferguson years from Italy, Taibbi, and my God, he was howler after howler after howler. The amount of howlers that man made.
You look at Alisson at Liverpool; he's made some howlers this season already.
Yeah, Bruce Grobbelaar used to make some real howlers. He used to be the clown. So, all the top keepers have made howlers. David Seaman made one at the World Cup against Brazil when Ronaldinho scored. Should never have scored that free kick or scored from where he was. But, that's the thing. Everybody makes a howler, And whether you're the best keeper in the world, you're going to make howlers, Without Botman in front of them, all the keepers would look shaky. Billy says he's been at fault for one goal, and even that wasn't alone for that goal. Yeah, I've got to agree, Billy. Absolutely, mate. But like I say, I don't think Nick Pope will be dropped on Saturday. Nick Pope will be playing on Saturday, and I think you're going to see a different Nick Pope. I know his uncle very well. So I know his uncle Steve. Great lad Steve is. And and Steve will be there on Saturday, as always. I actually pass his house every night, Steve's, and he's always got Pope's goalkeeper shirt up in his window. But yeah, I mean, look, yeah, he'll be playing on Saturday without a doubt. There's a lot of pressure on goalkeepers, and Defo would not drop Pope. He needs to work on his kicking. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Okay, I'm now concerned it's not true. Yeah, absolutely. We're not sure, Predator. Alvarez bent around him with pace. Do you know what it is, Billy? That is the thing. It was a cracking goal, and it doesn't matter how good a keeper you are. You are not saving them goals. You are not. Not at all. Barnes played very minimal minutes so far. Already got more goals and assists this season than he did last season. Absolutely, Roberto. Absolutely. Yeah, you're bang on right. Yeah. Navas would have saved that. I doubt it very much.
And I know that people like to talk about Maxi, but for me, as ancient history, I'd rather talk about the players that are still at the club rather than people that have left. And he's enabled us to get Livramento and Hall with his transfer. So even leaving the club,
Yeah.
he's helped the club. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm thankful for what Maxi has done on and off the pitch. He's a great entertainer. Yeah, he was improving, but I don't think he's said that he didn't have the end product that you'd want. But let's move on from him because we've got a different. He doesn't play for us anymore.
No. Yes, to be fair, Tony Grobler was paid for his hours. Yes, he was. I mean, look, Andy Cole's hat trick. That was that was dodgy. And when you look at the goals now, you can see why they were. Even at the time, I thought, "Hang on, how's he not saving that?" But you know,
I disagree with you there because I don't think even if he'd wanted to save them, I don't think he could have got to any of them because they were really good finishes.
he could have, Rolly. He could have easily. Sorry, Rolly, he could have. If you watch them goals, Andy Cole's goals.
I've watched them for a long time, but at the time, I didn't think he could get to them. But
yeah, but if you watch them back, Rolly, you watch it and you can see. I played as a goalkeeper, Rolly, and I'm thinking, Jesus, I would have saved them, at least two of them, anyway. You know, it was all a betting racket, and you know, and that was unfortunately one of the games that was pulled up. But Pope will have a cracking game. Do you know what it is? Let's hope so. Let's hope so, and that'll be great if he does. I mean, Rolly going on for. I mean, right. I think obviously, we know Tonori's not playing, or we're not sure he's playing, but we don't know. We know he's not playing. I mean, what's your ideal starting lineup on Saturday?
Oh, yeah, a lot of it depends on who's fit. If we take it that Tonali and Botman don't play, I'm thinking it'll be Nick Pope in goal. Yeah, Trippier right back, Sharp. I'd like to say Lewis Hall at left back. Midfield would be Bruno Longstaff and J7. And I'd probably stick with Almiron, Isaac, and Gordon. But he might play Wilson if he wants to save Isaac for the Champions League.
The team I would pick, well, a team I think will be picked on Saturday. I think it will be. Do you know what? It'll be definitely Pope in goal, that's for sure. Back four. Now this is where it gets tricky. Now I know you're saying you'd like to start with Lewis Hall, but if he's not fully match fit, there's no point in starting the guy. So I would bring him on for a cameo. So my back four, I would put Livramento right back. Then you're probably playing Lascelles, Cher, Kieran Trippier at left back. Because we know Trippier can play there, and he had a good game for England the other night at left back. In the middle, obviously, Bruno Longstaff, J7. The front three, I think, will change. I think I would rest Almiron, and I would put Murphy in. Wilson will take Isak's place because Isak will be kept for the Champions League. And I've got a feeling Gordon may not start. He may keep Gordon for the Champions League and he may start Barnes instead. So going on that, I'm saying Pope in goal, Livramento, Lascelles, Cher, Trippier. J7, Bruno, Longstaff, and Murphy, Wilson, and Bonds. That's what I'm going for.
I'm not so sure that he moves Trippier to left back.
Yeah, but if you want to bring Livermento in, if you're going to have to bring Lascelles in, if you don't want to play Burn at left back, then you could put Trippier there. Trippier can play left back.
I know he can play that. I don't think that they will. I think that if they're going to play Burn at left back, they'll have Lascelles in and Trippier at right back. I just don't see him moving Trippier from right back unless it was absolutely essential. But I wasn't impressed with Target against Brighton. It's a case of whether he wants to play Burn at left back or whether he and put Lascelles in at centre half. Or he could even stick with Target. Well, I hope not, but we'll find out on Saturday at 4:30.
I don't think Target will play on Saturday. Not after the way he played against Brighton. He was absolutely shocking.
Yeah, I know.
That was his chance to stake a claim to say, I want that left back berth, and I'm sorry, but he ain't done that. And that's not me having a go at Matt Target, but he just didn't nail that down. He should have nailed it, and he failed it. He failed the rehearsal. ESM himself said on Instagram Live that it's over. He moved on from Newcastle and he's looking forward to the new story of Al Ali. Absolutely. Definitely, indeed. Billy says, Grobler must have given Tobin Picnic half his wages because he lost Cole for every goal. He did, didn't he? He was absolutely dreadful, wasn't he? That day.
I think that Liverpool.
Then there was when he played for Southampton, there was a couple of dodgy ones as well. It'll be Predator says Pope, Trippier, Lascelles, Shaw, Hall, Bruno, Longstaff, Big Joe, Bonds, Wilson, Gordon. That's what I'd like to see. The thing is, though, if Hall's not 100% match fit, I can't see Hall starting, in all honesty. That's what Eddie Howe said in his last press conference. He's not played any matches, so if he's not match fit, whether he's played any behind the closed doors matches in the international break, I'm not sure. I think he went training with England, in fact, didn't he? I'm sure.
Yeah, he was training.
Yeah. Coffee says sacking Manchester now is the last thing we want because it would cause a mess like Man United and Chelsea. Absolutely. Ian says, I think Hall should start. Look, I would like to see Hall start, but I'm just trying to be realistic. I think that he might be given a cameo. Yeah.
I mean, if he's fit enough, because he's been with the club for a few weeks now, if he's fit enough, I would play him because he's got the talent, he's got the ability. It's just a case of whether he's fit enough or not. If he's not, you can't play him.
Interesting, Foxy says, I'd rest Bruno, Miggy and Isak versus Brentford. Bring Bruno on for Joe Linton. Depends if Anderson is fit, but he deserves to start, so does Wilson. Do you know what?
That's a good point.
Yeah, that is a good point. And the thing is, the Stian Anderson is having second thoughts about playing for Scotland now because Southgate has told him he wants him for England. So, and apparently, this is the rumour going around, Southgate has been in touch with Anderson and said, I don't want you pulling on a shirt for Scotland, I want you to pull on a white shirt of England. And apparently, Elliot Anderson's mulling it over and very interested. So, that's a good one to watch. Because obviously Southgate's seen something there and Anderson thinking, yeah, he's a special player, you know. And yeah, absolutely. Billy says, Tony, we could have played left back for England the only time Scotland attacked his flank they scored. But he definitely won't put trips against Tiki and Mbeumo. Yeah, true, Billy. I mean, look, it wasn't even Kieran Trippier's fault either for the goal, was it? It was slaphead, wasn't it, Harry Maguire? You know. But there again, I suppose we're all blaming Maguire. But then Ramsdale's got to take some blame for that as well, because Ramsdale should have shouted Maguire, leave it. I mean, as a goalkeeper, you command. I played in goal, right? Now, if that was my situation there, and I saw the defender going for that ball, I would be shouting, leave it, and making sure he knows, leave it, don't touch it. Because if he shouts at Maguire and tells Maguire to leave that, he collects that ball and there's no goal. But the problem is, he hasn't commanded his area, and he's let Maguire stick a foot out, which he's dived the wrong way, and it's gone the opposite way. So you've got to put a bit of blame to Ramsdale there, I'm afraid. So Ramsdale's got to take some responsibility for that, as well as, yes, Maguire scored the own goal and he's going to be forever talked about because of that own goal. But you've got to also put blame. It's 50-50. You've got to put blame towards Aaron Ramsdale as well, because he should have commanded his area and said, no, you leave that ball. I've done it to when I played in goal for defenders. I've said to them, leave that ball. And I'll make it known that I'll leave that ball. And my defenders knew to leave that ball. As soon as I shout, leave it, they don't touch it. They know, because they know I'm in control and I'm going to get that ball. So
Ramsdale didn't.
But that's what he should have done, Ramsdale, and he didn't command his area. He didn't command his box, in my opinion, Rolly. And I'm being critical because I've played in goal as well, so I know.
I'm not saying it's assuming that Ramsdale didn't shout him, or because Maguire could have just panicked and done it anyway. But he's notorious for that. He's even notorious in the Ghana Parliament. As they were using, one of the politicians was using him as an example of sabotaging your own economic policy by scoring goals for the opposition.
Yeah. Hi, Yanni says Trips needs a rest. I mean, that's a good point. Yeah, Trippier could do with a breather.
He's only played 4 games. Let's be real here.
Yeah, well, he played for England the other night as well.
Yeah, but
How will probably put Dummett at left back. Oh, God. One of my ex was a rugby player till I found out she was a hooker. God, Lee. Jesus, honestly. Hey, God, everybody's having fun with this guy. Joe Linton, hi mate, hope you're well. He says, what's the point in that? If he calls him up, he won't play him. Yeah. Bo Gate won't pick him with it. That lucky he'll be gone soon. Fake news. Sean McIntyre was walking around like Frankenstein. Maguire, yeah. Blame Southgate for playing Maguire. People keep abusing Maguire, but Southgate keeps playing him and putting it. Do you know what it is, Coffee? You're spot on there, right? Now let's be honest here. You call Tomori for the squad, and he doesn't get in, but Maguire gets in ahead of him. Tomori is one of the best centre backs in Serie A, in Italian football. Tomori, since he's gone from Chelsea to AC Milan, his game has excelled, and that is why last season he got Player of the Year, because he was the best best player in Serie A as a centre back, and he is still one of the best centre backs in Italian football. But yet he can't get past Maguire, and that's what I don't understand. And I wish Southgate would come out and explain, how can Tomori, who was one of the best players in Italy, can't get past somebody who is a reserve player at Man United, because he doesn't get off that subs bench very often. And what I couldn't believe the other week was when Man U played Arsenal, all the fans were singing Harry Maguire's name, the Man U fans, and I'm thinking, what the hell is going on here? What is going on here? Have they now got a loving with Harry Maguire at Man United? And then they bring on the old man in, then they bring Johnny Evans on. And what happens? Arsenal score through a Johnny Evans error, So you couldn't make it up, could you? You really couldn't make it up. I'm convinced that's Maguire's man, but looks like Tony take that mask off. Billy says, I think away should have been Ramsdale's call. Trips is definitely partly to blame because Robertson ran the whole. Yeah. But there again, Ramsdale should have. Yeah, but he should have. Billy, he should have commanded his area and he didn't. Clarky says, Lee used to say, leave those balls on a regular basis to his girlfriend. Jesus Christ. No, it's Southgate's fault, Tony, just because no justification picked the player over hasn't been playing regular. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Bizarre that Southgate has been trying to stop Anderson playing for Scotland, but did nothing to stop Musiala and Balogun choosing their countries. That's the thing. I think Musiala, I think he chose Germany over us anyway, didn't he? But Germany's not a great place because Hansi Flick got the sack, didn't he? So, yeah, no, he hasn't lasted long. Because I haven't got any more ball scratchers now, have they? The horse pick has gone now, hasn't he, Joachim Low?
Did you say who was the manager that got sacked?
Hansi Flick.
Hansi Flick, Herr Flick. I wonder if he's related to. Oh no, hello.
Oh Jesus, Rolly! But we all remember Joachim Low. I mean, look, used to scratch his bollocks and scratch his backside and sniff his fingers, and it used to be like, honestly, that man is just absolutely just pure filth. But the German team are not the German team they used to be now, and that's the thing. They've got a lot of rebuilding to do there.
They're not in a good
Sefton says, shout out to War 2 Army travellers like Berto, unbelievable dedication. Absolutely. Well done. Someone once said Maguire's a Van Nistelrooy of own goals. I mean, Rolly, looking at the match on Saturday, what's your prediction for this game?
I think we need to win just to kickstart our season. It's going to be a tough game. It'll be close. I'd take a 1-0 own goal win at this stage. But I think we could get 2 goals. I think we could win 2-1. I'd like a clean sheet, though. I think a clean sheet would be good for Pope. But I'm going to say 2-1.
2-1. That's not a bad shout. It's not a bad shout. Billy says when Law left, the German player said it was like a breath of fresh air. Oh, honestly, it used to pick his backside and he used to do this, didn't he? And then just go, and he used to think, oh, for God's sake, he'd done it in every tournament that Germany were in. I mean, surely manager saw what he was doing, because how could you go up and shake his hand after having his hand down his trousers? You know what I mean? That hairstyle was dodgy as well, though, wasn't it? Joachim Low's favourite painter, Picasso. I wish I could fly out to Milan. I can't even drive at the minute. Our lass is terrified. I dropped dead at the wheel. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, let's hope you get that operation soon, Predator. It's just absolutely horrendous at the minute with the way things are going, isn't it? BS says 3-0, Isak, Gordon and Hall. Sefton says up to 2 and 3-0. How are you, the lads? Do you know what? I'm going for a 2-0 win. That's what I said last night. And that's what I'm going for. And hopefully we go on and win this game. Like I say, I couldn't care if we won 1-0 and it come off the goalkeeper's backside in the last minute and went in the back of the net. I don't care who scores a goal. As long as we get the 3 points, that's what we need. But I've got a feeling we're going to be clinical on Saturday. And poor Brentford could be on the end of a thrashing like Villa were. So, we've got 3 games coming up. We need, 3 games where we should be targeting maximum points. Yes, Brentford, okay, it's going to be tough, but we should win it. But when we've got the likes of Sheffield United and then Burnley, we should be targeting them as well and thinking they're going to be winnable games as well. So we'll see what happens on that one. Mighty win. Hi, mate. Hope you're well. He says clean sheet and 1 goal for every 15 minutes after the first goal. That would be absolutely fantastic, mate, wouldn't it? Predator says, as far as I'm concerned, if we win 1-0, be happy with a win. It's a confidence booster. Absolutely, mate.
Yeah.
Deputy Van Halen. Great. It's madness that we spent 120 million on players and gone for DRB. That sounds like Lance's back, but he's gone under a different name. Mighty Win says, that's the problem finishing. Foxy says, Japan destroyed Germany too. The scorers have played in the Belgian league. What a country. Absolutely.
Yeah, but are they playing in the Belgian league now?
Yes.
It just shows how bad the German side is.
Yeah. Got to joke about it, Tony, or to press the shit out of me. I'm even on a sex ban. I'm pretty sure I'm being mistreated here. No, I'm sure she's got your intentions at heart, mate. I mean, look, there should be, not being funny, but you should be in one of the first to be getting your operation. And it's just absolutely it's just disgusting the way these doctors keep going on strike. And the more strikes they have, the more they're pushing people's operations back. And I think it's totally unfair. Yes, I can understand that the emergencies come first, and that's absolutely fine, But surely, they've got to start getting through these operations. Even if they start sending us to private hospital, at least it's something then, isn't it? Billy says, what does Rowley think about the Belgian league now being in the top 5 leagues according to FOTMob?
I still stand by what I said, because when you look at the French league in particular, they're rated below the Belgian league. But you look at the number of players that have left France, come directly to the Premier League and flourished. You don't get as many Belgians doing that. There's always going to be some that come and hit it off, but there'll be more French players that have successes coming directly from the French league to the Premier League than from the Belgian league to the Premier League. They tend to either have to be in a club for a number of years before they break into the first team, or they go out on loan somewhere else. You look at De Bruyne going out on loan before he come back to Man City and being a big hit. I'm not saying that the Belgian players are bad. I just don't think they develop the players as well as the French league does. And part of the reason the French league is rated so low is once they've developed a player, they all bugger off to England or Italy or Germany. You look at the French national team, how many of them are playing in France that aren't playing at PSG?
Yeah. There you go, Rolly. There's your favourite league. Jupiler League, Belgium. There you go. You can picture that now, Rolly. I'll even send you a picture if you want to print one off and put it on your bedroom wall, just to remind you.
Yeah, it's my opinion is based purely on what I see from players coming direct from the French league to the Premier League, as opposed to the Belgium direct to the Premier League. It's not about the players; it's about the development. Say when Kevin De Bruyne went to Chelsea, they had to send him out on loan because he wasn't up to the standard. Then they sold him to Man City. By that time, he'd developed, and he's one of the best midfielders in the world. It's the development that they get. You look at the French league, develop players really well. The Eredivisie, they're very good at doing that as well.
Is you know how we've got this guy in the chat who's on about Newcastle and everybody's saying his ear Mackham or whatever. Could it be this guy in disguise? Could it be him who's in the chat tonight? Good old cabbage heat there. Joking aside. Yeah. Sefton says, don't forget it's my birthday tomorrow. Hopefully new tune gear. Yeah, Sefton. Happy birthday. It's how old are you again, Sefton? Did you say it's a big 7-0 tomorrow for you, is it? Was it? Are you 70 tomorrow, Sefton, or are you closer to the TV license where you get it for free when you're 75? I'm only joking, mate. I know you're nowhere near that age yet. Happy birthday for tomorrow, Sefton. 4-0 to the tune. Wilson, Trippier, Longstaff if he plays, I hope, says Wayne. Yeah, absolutely good shout. Free the Predator 1, lol. I sent you that. Yes, I'm gonna put that on screen in a moment and just give people a bit of a well, I don't know. They might not be. They might be a bit sick with it, or they may think, "Oh God, I don't want to see that." And so when I put it up here, look at it at your own peril. And if you don't feel very well after looking at it, then that's totally understandable. But the disclaimer's there. If you don't want to look at it, look away. But I'm sure you'll all want to have a good look at this. So I'll go and take Mary's comment off a minute. Yeah, we go. Coffee sent me this. There you go. Bit of nostalgia there. There you go. Joachim Low. And shaking hands with the Italian, and then he's shaking Buffon, and he's shaking hands with Ronaldo. Ronaldo's passing it on. And then the Brazilian's having a sniff as well. What do you think of that, Rolly?
Yeah, well.
It's disgusting, though, isn't it, really?
Yeah. It's,
I mean, I wonder why his wife thought of him doing that, I wonder what she thought of him. It's absolutely disgusting. Mighty Win says, if J7 had scored early against City, Barnes had squared to Callum against Liverpool, and Isak had scored early against Brighton, we'd all be far happier than we are now, just like that. See, do you know what it is? That's the thing. But if Barnes had a squared to Wilson, yeah, we would have gone 2 up and that would have been game over. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Well, that's the closer I feel. Predator. Hope your missus is okay with that. Billy, you're not changing Rory's opinion.
No.
Billy says, poor Predator, I'm out in solidarity with you, mate. Absolutely. Me, my prison guard, God knows. DVH, go back to your Malcolm Dustbin, says Mighty Win. Cheers, Billy. Happy early birthday, Sefton. Kenneth says, I think the Belgium league is getting better. A lot of experienced players and younger players too. Just look at Anderlecht. Got some Danish national players. Yeah, and when you go back to the Belgian league, Verbruggen, the Dutch goalkeeper who played for Brighton against Newcastle and kept a clean, he didn't keep a clean sheet, but obviously he conceded one, but he did quite well against us, and he only cost him £10 million. And I remember during the transfer windows before this transfer happened to Brighton, when I was saying to Rolly we were linked with him, Rolly wasn't so sure about him. Now, Rolly, I rest my case because I thought he played quite well against us. And
it didn't have an awful lot to do, to be honest. But
yeah, what he had to do, he did quite well. I thought sweeping up in that.
Yeah. But goalkeeper, my skepticism was more that goalkeeper wasn't a priority position for us.
Yeah.
As I say, not all. It's not saying that all Belgian players can't translate, but it's more often than not they don't, and they have to spend time in the at a Premier League club or go out on loan before they actually become regular starters in the Premier League.
Yeah. Anfield Uncle Rods, how you doing, guys? Absolutely fine, mate. How are you doing? Nice seeing not to seen you for a while, mate, but great to see you on the channel tonight, and I hope you're all keeping well. He's a great guy, is Uncle Rods. Good lad. Good lad. People saying happy birthday to Sefton. Billy says, Joachim Lowe always wanted to pick Balak. Yeah, that's probably why he picked Balak, because he thought it was spelled Bollock, but it was Balak. Foxy says Belgian league is now rated better than the French league because they are outperforming them in European competitions. A lot more competitive league. French league, we know who wins it already in PSG. Absolutely, Foxy.
Yeah, but
Gift Orban, another great player.
No one picked him up this summer. But my point isn't about as I said earlier, the reason why the French league is rated low is partly because it's a one-horse race, and a lot of the really good French players don't actually play in their league.
Yeah.
Why I like the French league is they are very good at developing players. You look at the French national team; all of their players have gone through their youth system. Most of them, unless they play at PSG, don't play in France. That's why their league is so poorly rated. It's the development process that I like in France, and I think is better than Belgium.
Sefton says, I can't wait to open my presents tomorrow. I did ask for the new away shirt and shorts. Anthony and Rowley's autographs. I'm sure that can be arranged, Sefton. The other clubs in that league got some exciting players too, says Kenneth. Yeah, absolutely. How are the Mads block him? Gone. Yeah. He's gone now, matey. Got one hung low. Oh, God. I can't wait to watch Newcastle play again. Yeah, well, that's not long away now. 2 days. Coffee, 2 days, mate. Good thing Simon charity game was played during the international break. Predator says, how are you, Rolly? Just admit it. You love the Belgian league and we can all move on.
Never.
Do you know what it is, Rolly? Everybody loves it, don't they?
My opinion will change when Belgian players coming directly from the Belgian leagues get straight into the first teams in the Premier League on a consistent basis. They don't at the moment. French players in general tend to. The ones that are bought tend to go straight into first teams. That's my whole point. That's the whole premise of my argument.
Mighty Win says France are useless in European competitions, so sufficient. Do you know what it is? The thing is, right? The thing I say, when I've had people come up to me and say, oh, that's a bad group, that's a group of death. And I'm like, hang on a minute. Why is that a bad group that we're in? Why are we in a group that people think we're not going to get out of? Do you not think AC Milan, Paris Saint-Germain, and Borussia Dortmund are looking at that and thinking, oh, this isn't a great group, this is a hard group? Because they'll be looking at it as a hard group. Because one, they don't come up against how we play week in, week out. So they're going to all be in for a shock. And do you know what it is? Do you know what I'm going to love? When we play PSG at St James's Park, and if we turn around and beat them, that would be fantastic. Just to get one over him, who's in charge of Behind Sports, who owns them, because of the way he went on over our takeover. So to get one over him, and I hope we do. And do you know what? What say we don't beat them as well? Look, yes, it's a hard group. I'm not going to lie, it's a hard group. But there's nothing to say that we can't get out of that group. Not at all. Because it depends how you play on the day.
The other thing about the group is when you look at who else was in pot four when they drew the pot four, I'm sure that PSG, Borussia Dortmund, and AC Milan was thinking, I hope we don't get Newcastle.
Yeah.
Because we were the best team in that pot. They wouldn't have wanted us. They could have got Celtic or Copenhagen or
Yeah.
Antwerp, and they got us. They wouldn't have been happy with that.
Yes, I think Rawley's had a bad experience in Belgium, sorry.
No, I haven't. I've been to Belgium sometimes. I've had great experiences there. As I say, it's the league doesn't develop the players as well as the French league.
Yeah. Sefton says you beat me, Tony Block. Sorry, mate. Yeah, I had to. I think it was just getting on everybody's nerves, to be fair. Predator says it's because you have chocolates and they said they were genuine Belgium. You found out they were pound shop specials. I think we have the toughest game first, but we'll get out of the group. Do you know what it is? Thing is, though, we could go to Milan and shock people and go there and get a draw, or we could go there and get a win. Who's to say we don't go there and win that? Look, let's be honest. That AC Milan, Inter Milan semi-final last year was dreadful. Was dreadful to watch. So, yes, we've got to come up against the mighty at AC Milan. We've got to come up against the mighty Loftus-Cheek. Wow. But we are going to come up against a rock at the back in Tomori. And, I would really love to see him at Newcastle. I really would. He'd be great in our defence. Mighty Win says, I'm off to Milan Saturday from Edinburgh, £117 return. Only problem is I'm there for a week and miss a Brentford game with kick-off back. Enjoy yourself in Milan, but not great, is it? But hopefully you'll get to see it in the pub. We are stuck in a group with AC Milan, PSG and Borussia Dortmund, but they are stuck in a group with us, absolutely, Coffee. Absolutely, mate. Definitely. As I say, Clark Griswold, hi Clark, hope you're well. If you're new to the channel, do hit the subscribe and do smash a like. He says, the Belgian League is why you've got Zinkernagel, the former Forest player excelling in that division, scored 10 goals from midfield. Somebody's on your side for the Belgian League, Rolly.
I knew I wasn't alone.
No team wanted to tune. Whatever happens, happens. It's just the thrill of being back in Europe once again. Do you know what? I've even said if we finish third in that group and we're one of the best third places, we drop in the Europa League. Not a bad thing because we stay in Europe. So I'm not worried at all. As long as we don't finish bottom, I don't care. Let AC Milan finish bottom.
I mean, to be honest, obviously you hope to get an easier group, but then I thought, this is what you want to get into the Champions League for, is to play the likes of AC Milan, PSG, Dortmund. You want to play the big clubs and see how you measure up. Can we get out of the group? It's possible. Will we get out of the group? We don't know. But there's no reason why we shouldn't, or any of the other teams should.
Are Tony and Ronnie going to any of the games? I'm not, no.
No, I won't do
it. Have a great trip. Yeah, absolutely. Have a safe journey as well, mate, and stay safe as well. Right, so we've come to the end of the show now, guys, but it's been a great show, and I hope you've all enjoyed it, and we've talked about all sorts tonight, and we look forward to Saturday. Let's hope we can get a win on Saturday, which will take that confidence into the game on Tuesday against AC Milan. So coming up this week, I will be back definitely Saturday anyway with the pre-match, so do catch me for the pre-match. Tuesday, I probably won't do a pre-match because it's an early kick-off. It's like 6:15. I don't finish work till 4:30, so by the time I get home, it's 5:00. But that's not too bad. But we can always do something afterwards. So yeah. But anyway, it's been great tonight as well. And as I say, Mighty Win, you have a safe journey, mate, and stay safe in Milan as well. Rolly, do you want to let people know where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Ol67.
Lovely, thank you very much. And everybody knows where they can find me, so I don't think I need to go through all my bits and pieces. Okay. If you have enjoyed what you see, please do smash that like if you haven't done so already, and it does help the channel. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, come and smash the subscribe, be part of this great community we have here, and also the bell notification that tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows. Bye, Tony, Rolly, and all. Thank you very much. Coffee, bye-bye to you. Ian says, cheers, Tony and Rolly. Great show. Cheers, Ian. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Mighty Win says, great show as always. Cheers, boys. How are you, the lads? Absolutely, Mighty Win. And as I say, safe journey, mate. Safe journeys.
Yeah. Enjoy your trip.
Yeah, cheers, lads. Great show. See you in the next one. And stay safe, everyone. Yeah, you too, mate. Stay safe. Okay. And I'm not going to put that out there. It's not a very nice comment to make. So he's gone. Right, okay. So thank you to everybody coming on tonight. It's been a great show. And, hope you've enjoyed the show. And see you in the next one. Until then, remember, the future's bright. The future is definitely black and white. It's bye-bye from me.
Bye from me.
How are the lads?